We're going to start with a quick assessment of our spine and just take notice of how we're feeling right now in this moment. Then we're going to do a few exercises and then we'll reassess. So the first thing we're going to do is just reach down towards the floor and go to the point where you start to feel either a little bit of tightness or restriction, or if you notice any pain, just pause wherever you're at and take notice of where your hands are, what you're feeling in the legs. Maybe you feel a little bit of pressure pulling in the back, and then coming back up. And then we're going to work on side bending. And so I want you to imagine you're a piece of toast in a toaster, and all you can do is go sideways. The second you start rotating, you're going to get burnt. So no rotating. So I want you to have your hands by your side. You're going to go down towards your knee. And the second you start to really shift your weight over to your side, the side that you're on, pause. That's probably telling you that's about as far as you can go. And then come back up and then go the other way. And if you notice you were trying to get a little bit further by rotating forward, pause there. That's as far as you can go. And come back. I'm going to show you from the side. So same thing, you're going to go down. And notice some of the tendency is to get more motion, so we're rotating. Pause there, don't do that. And then when you go to the other side, same thing. Just go to where you can. Take notice of where your hand is at on each side. If it's equal or if it feels a little bit tighter on one side, that's a nice little marker to notice, like, okay, I could only get to my knee here, whereas on the other side, I could go way past my knee. Other things you can look at is, how smooth are you with going down? So on this side, I'm a little bit slower compared to this side where I feel like I can just kind of flop into it. And this side, I feel like, meh, that's about it, okay? Last thing, we're gonna do rotation. And we're gonna let our hips rotate with us. I want you to imagine you're just one straight line, so your head isn't turning with you. It's just the hips and everything turning with you. So we're not turning our head to look back. We're just going to where we can, coming back to the center, and then going the other direction, coming back to the center. So pause, do that again, turn over one side, and notice what's the weight distribution in your legs. Are you more on one side versus the other, or is it equal? What do you notice going on in your low back, in your hip, maybe in your upper mid back? And then bring it back to center. And then we're gonna go the other direction. Same thing, check in. Where's your weight in your legs? Is it more on the left side, right side, or equal? How does it feel in your back? How does it feel in your hips, mid back? And bring it back to center. Okay, so we're gonna do those after we do these two stretches and see how we feel if we notice a difference. So the first stretch is cat-cow. And I always say cat-cow, but I like to start in cow. So what we're gonna do is lower down into cow. And so that's where our belly is coming down, our tailbone is reaching up towards the sky. We're gonna take a few breaths here. And what I want you to check in with is what's going on in the pelvic floor. So the space between our sit bones, so the vaginal canal, noticing as we inhale that there's a little bit of expansion or lengthening in the space between the sit bones. And then as we exhale, it comes back to neutral. So as we inhale, there's a little bit of expansion. As we exhale, comes in. Inhale and exhale. From here, let's go into cat now. So we're gonna tuck the pelvis under, eyes looking towards the belly. Let the head go for a moment. And we're thinking about really kind of rounding through the spine, nice little stretch through the mid back here, tucking the pelvis under. And notice how there's a lot less space for our belly to expand and contract, but we're gonna try and do that anyway. So we're gonna inhale as much as we can into our belly, and then exhale, letting it go back to neutral. Inhale and exhale. And so as we're doing this breathing, check back in what's going on in the pelvic floor. Now notice, so the space between the sit bones is much closer. So we may not notice a whole lot of movement happening in the backside. And you may notice more of it coming into the front side. Or you may notice nothing at all. There's no right or wrong. Just noticing what your body feels like in this moment. Okay, so now we're going to move through that a little bit more quick. So we're going to inhale into inhale into cow. And then exhale, rounding up into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. So on that inhale, we're thinking about lengthening through the pelvic floor, sit bones reaching away from each other. Exhale, pelvic floor lifts up a little bit as we're lifting up our back. Kind of goes hand in hand, or it goes together. Exhale to round. Let's just do one more like that. Inhale and exhale. Okay, so the last one we're going to do is we're going to bring our left hand behind our head and we're going to do some rotation. So the movement is lifting our chest up and our torso, and we're trying to rotate just at the thoracic, or just at the rib cage. So if you start feeling your hips jet forward as you're rotating, that's too far. That's not where we want the movement. So try and keep the hips square and only rotate in the rib cage here. And then you're going to lower down and tap the elbow to the floor. So we're opening up, being mindful of not putting any weight into our hip, and then tapping the elbow to the floor. Okay, and then of course we're going to add breathing. So we're going to inhale as we lift up, exhale as we tap down. Inhale as we lift, exhale as we tap. I'm getting a little shaky at the top there as it gets harder to do this rotation. And then let's go ahead and pause. Let's go to the other side. So I'm going to turn around so you can see. So right hand behind the head, reaching the torso up. Again, notice that you're not shifting into your hips. They're keeping them square to the floor, and then tapping the elbow to the floor. Lifting up and tapping down. Lifting up, tapping down. Breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And notice I haven't had you pay attention to the pelvic floor. By all means, you can do so. But right here, there's a lot to think about, so I'm going to be kind, make you only think about one thing. And let's go ahead and pause there. All right, so let's go ahead and stand back up, and let's reassess what we did in the beginning of this video. So we're going to start with reaching down towards the floor and take notice. Does anything feel different? Are you able to go further? Was it smoother to go down to the floor, or was it the same? And then coming back up. And then going to the side, notice, are you wanting to rotate, or was it easier to come down? Is your hand a little bit further? And then going the other direction and back up. So for me, my right side was pretty smooth. On the left side, it's still a little tight, but I feel like I was able to go easier into that motion compared to when I started. And then the last thing we were doing is rotating. So we rotate to one side, check in, how's the weight distribution in the feet. I noticed last time that I was definitely a lot more on my right foot as I was rotating to the right. Now it feels a little more equal. It's still right dominant, but again, that's okay. And then back to the center and then rotate the other way. Notice back how it feels, how the hips feel as you do this. And bring it back to center. So that's a nice little quick stretch that you can do, and notice how it changes your spinal mobility. And we didn't even do per se hamstring stretches or specific only Kegel pelvic floor exercises, right? Everything is connected, and just by doing 2 movement patterns, we, at least I myself right now in this moment, have noticed an improvement in just by doing 2 simple movements. So have fun, play with it, see what you notice.